What's up guys, welcome to the video, and today's video is going to be about the deadlift. And once again, the deadlift is definitely one of the best movements that anyone can do, whether it be for bodybuilding, general strength training, or even athletic training. The deadlift will surely help you. But there are a good number of variations out there when it comes to the deadlift, and of course that leaves people confused, and now they're wondering which variation they should do, which variation would benefit them the most. So for today's video, I'll be listing down 4 of the most common deadlift variations there is and their respective benefits. And starting off this list is going to be the most commonly known variation there is, and that's going to be the conventional deadlift. So with the conventional deadlift, your feet are going to be roughly at hip width stance, and your torso is going to be at an average of 30 to 45 degrees. In this variation, your hamstrings and glutes are the primary movers here, while having some quad activation. The second variation on this list would be the sumo deadlift, and right off the bat you'll be able to see the biggest difference between the conventional deadlift and the sumo deadlift would be how far wide apart your stance would be, because in the sumo deadlift, instead of it being at a hip width stance like you'd see in the conventional deadlift, it's going to be much wider out, and of course that will lead your hands to be inside your legs and not outside. In terms of your torso lean as well, you're going to be a bit more upright as compared to the conventional deadlift, which will then make you use your quads just a bit more, and it's still going to make your hamstrings and your glutes to be the prime movers here. The third variation on this list would be the Romanian deadlift, which is ironically what most people accidentally do when they're trying to do the conventional deadlift. And the reason why a lot of people accidentally do this variation instead is because they typically forget to use their quads in the movement, which is exactly what the Romanian deadlift is, wherein you're not using your quads at all and you're just using your hamstrings and your glutes to lift the weight up. Another thing to note when it comes to the RDL is that your back is definitely going to be a lot more parallel to the ground, and because of that you're really going to feel your lower back be a lot more engaged, a lot more activated as compared to all the other variations on the list. For the final variation of this list, we have the hex bar deadlift, and that was given such a name because you'll be standing inside a hexagon shaped bar as opposed to using a regular barbell. And because you'll be standing inside the hex bar as opposed to standing right before it, you'll be able to have a much more upright torso, similar to how you would normally look like in the squat. And because it's quite similar to the squat, your quads are going to be the main movers in this lift, which is quite opposite to the previous variations wherein your hamstrings and your glutes were the main movers. So now that we're done with the list, which variation should you do? And obviously that's going to be entirely dependent on which muscle group you'd want to prioritize the most. And as previously mentioned, almost all deadlift variations work on the same muscle groups, but there are some that emphasize more than others. So if I were to arrange all these deadlift variations wherein hamstring and glute activation would be strongest at the left and the quad activation will be strongest on the right, well, it's definitely going to look like this, wherein the Romanian deadlift is going to be at the strongest when it comes to the hamstring and glute activation, and then the hex bar is going to be the strongest when it comes to quad activation. And then you're going to find the conventional deadlift here right beside the sumo deadlift. Again, all these variations are great. You just have to decide which one you think will benefit you the most. If you think that you have weak quads and you're currently not squatting or using the leg press machine, then the hex bar deadlift would be the obvious choice. But if you think that your glutes and your hamstrings are your weak points, then the Romanian deadlift would be your best bet. But if you think that your legs are generally well-rounded, you can simply pick between the conventional deadlift or the sumo deadlift and you're going to be absolutely fine. Because again, no matter what variation you choose, you're definitely going to be in good hands. And as a bonus, if you want to make things harder than they already are, you can make any of these variations into deficit variations. So to perform a deficit deadlift, all you'd have to do is to platform yourself 2 to 3 inches higher off the ground, and normally people would use rubber mats or even the barbell plates to elevate themselves. And the reason why we do this is to increase the range of motion of these movements, making it a lot harder. And I know that at first glance 2 to 3 inches doesn't seem that much of an increase, but trust me when I say that you're definitely going to feel the difficulty increase once you do so. So if you want the added challenge as well as the added effectiveness, go ahead and try out the deficit variation. So that's the video guys, thanks for watching, and I hope that it helped you decide which variation that you should currently do for you and your goals. So okay, till the next video.